When making a new world, there are several options that you have. For example, change its name, change difficulty, and more specifically the world type. On default, Super Path, which has its own presets, Large Biome, Amplified, and of course, Single Biome. So it has the option to make your world a single biome. Of course, most people barely touch it, just go default and call it a day. There are people who of course use Super Flat, but uses the default preset as well. There was also a time when everyone was using Amplified, Flame, because it looks cool. There's still people who do that as well. And basically no one even touches single biome. But the thing of note was, I sadly don't know the version this was in, but you see how it's called Buffet World here? Well, in the future, they changed it to a single biome customization. Now, you might be wondering why I'm pointing this out. You probably don't know what Buffet World was before, but this is a significant change because in the original Buffet World settings, there was, well, no, in this one we have to go back a generation to around 1.13, the Quark update, to find that is the last noteworthy time when the Buffet World button was added. Well, you see, it has the ability to switch between three common sets: the single biome, caves, and for this story, the floating islands. And of course, the ability to pick any one biome to make the whole thing. See, this is rather interesting because then from there, they did in fact split it up into three subcategories, of caves and floating islands basically being their own things now along with a single biome, before they got rid of both of them entirely, leaving only single biome. With what you saw in the beginning, where they even changed the name from Buffet setting to simple single biome. But there was a time when it was simply single biome, but it's not the Buffet setting text. And that saying, that was around, like, I think, it happened during the change in the Caves and Cliffs update, where they expanded the world height, because, well, pretty much the caves and floating island presets were removed during that time. That was the same, because I don't remember the snapshot it was in, but I do remember it happened in the snapshot during that time. But my last eclipse are basically these big, giant, like, sky islands with, like, basically feels like the bottom of the world was completely removed, leaving basically these islands of that basically if you were to fall down the right spot, you would just go all the way down to the void. Heck, you can still see something like that if you went to the April Fool's update, the craft mine. And for here, it's gonna show you, yeah, you saw since I decided to go think, it's gonna show you what it looked like. Of course, this is set to the normal plains biome preset because, well, there's not much reason for me not to. And, well, basically this is kind of how it goes. You hopefully spawn in a better island than this, but even then of this, it's probably fine because you have to have enough blocks to like make it out there. So I want to say, it's like, in other versions of Minecraft, the floating privacy, that the Minecrafts used to always spawn, but only in like the last version would I say that that's the coolest. Just of how the chains would eventually expand down to the ground like you see there. We'll get a better view of it at some point, but for now, let's just go quickly mine up all the thoughts. And of course, begin placing down to the nearest islands and so, well, the Sky Island is probable. So, once more, let's go fast forward. Of course, something else that like a few months are doing the mine thing is like this was in fact this was one of the update where they added the toggle button to sneak. Of course, it was in accessibility at the time, but yeah, back to the fast forward as you see. Something that as we finally get to our real boss island here, something you probably realize about around this time that this is, at least from my understanding, just using the end generation to make it. The same goes with Cave World, where the Cave World is actually the Nuzzle generation, just put in the overworld. Which, again, it's only a 20 generation specifically, so don't expect anything else to really occur. The biome itself makes it occur. Like, for example, the lava, replacing water with lava if you have like another biome or something. I mean, there's still some funny quirks here and there, but hey, it still really sucks that they got rid of it. Again, trees, plants, and other life still spawn around these parts. You'll see some other things that are basically the result of what happens when a sky world meets regular structure placing terrain systems, and you'll see how weird it gets. Mine shafts work perfectly fine. They basically only hang under the islands. You see how they even get cut off in some positions once the island stops as well. The fact that it definitely does feel like the mine shafts are a part of the island. Like people from yore used to mine under these islands for valuable resources. Like, one could assume diamonds, but the funny thing about Sky Island world is that it's very rare to get a diamond ore. So basically, like from my recollection, I don't think I've ever seen a single diamond ore in a Sky world, but I believe it's possible. I think. I feel like I've seen it before. But yeah, basically, if you get a sky diamond ore, that'll apply if it's a deep slate sky diamond ore. Which, fun fact, this was in 1.17, which means this was a time when deep slates was added, but the 1.18 generation of deep slate that we all know of did not. No. Deep slate in this time was still effectively worked like granite, diorite, and andesite. You know, that they just being chunks that appear all over the world instead of actually being the second layer. There's again more reasons why getting rid of it, because he couldn't figure out how to make Sky Islands work with the new terrain. It sucks, but there's not much that can be done besides make a data pack for it. But it wouldn't be the same as it being an officially made thing, and it's like, as a lot of things, like you could probably get a system to basically recreate it in the new versions. Like, I know the Xenosphere mod pack effectively does try to do it, but that thing's about it. You don't really see many Sky Worlds anymore outside just like the end, and a part of it is sad because like this is a completely different take and idea compared to saying like Skyblock or its predecessors and counterparts and spin-offs. Because unlike things like, well, Skyblock, Chicken Block, or whatever block, one block even, it's like, it's still a whole world that you can walk to, expand to, and continue. But, well, now it's gone. That's like many other things. Well, anyway, Nightfall is about to happen soon, and you'll see what happens when a N-scaled person gets caught in night. Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you now, it's not gonna go well. But what can you do besides the battle and everything in general? That's about it. Now I think lava still spawns here, water still spawns here. Like everything here is perfectly fine and well. Like, it's just a plains. It's just a world. It's just a plains biome, like the flat, like the normal flat world. Oh, yeah, this super flat. I don't know why I forgot the name for the time there. But yeah, it's like the normal super flat setting. Just that instead of only being stuck to just a plains biome, unless you know how to code. Yeah, they still after all these years, they still haven't changed it. And yeah, there is no coming back from this one. Falling to your death is falling to your death. And we saw back on this island, as you see. I do remember there were some times in like previous like outcomes where there are some Skyworlds that were just impossible due to the simple fact of you'd fall into the void, and then you would fall into the void again, and repeat the cycle until you either land on a solid piece of ground or you just leave and create a new world. It's like, so things like that is probably like science for why they moved it, but it's the same thing as the customization setting that they also got rid of in replacement for the favorable setting. And yeah, mobs. There's not many places for mobs to spawn, so they'll spawn everywhere here. Yeah, experience is basically impossible for us to try to reclaim the surface again of it, because Skyworld, the thing that makes mob spawning not nearly as deadly in the overworld is the fact that caves still spawn, there's like more land in general, like if you're here, mobs would be spawning like to the right of the void, to the left of the void, like everywhere. And that makes them much more spread out than the... There's nothing here, there's nothing here, oh hey, there's a place to spawn things here. Flood it. Yeah, it's basically... We'll skip over the other attempts after this one because... Yeah, we're not making much progress on this night. At least if you try to claim the surface. As always. While the above ground is hostile territory that has all the mobs you'll ever see. Yeah, the creeper has clearly shown us. Twice already. So, while one could wait for night, you could also begin to use the fact that it's a sky island, you are the island, and just begin tunneling around it. And even just after knocking a creeper down. I don't know why. Yeah, it's like floating gravel is also a common thing that happens in these sky worlds, but again, it's cool. But yeah, it's like, and of course, I guess maybe we'll go back to the conversation about the being cool, you know. Yeah. Basically, the idea of the original customized world, because that is still different from Buffet World and what they became. Because customization world is much more closer to basically what you're able to alter with like that kind of things of modern day Minecraft. Well, basically, you could change the height. You can decrease the height. You could raise the water level. You can move the water level. You can turn the water level into a lava level. Instead, you could basically change how much ores are distributed. You could basically up all of the. You can basically up all the ore values to make stone the way thing. You can invert the values to where you capture diamonds first and diamonds on the surface and the coal is at the bottom of the world. You could just make a world full of iron. A couple didn't exist, so you can do that, but you just want to just go on the ground and get nothing but redstone components? Well, you could. You could just decrease the amount of diamond spawns and do that. You could even, I think it's some version of it. It could be wrong. You could turn on and off which biome spawn, or maybe that was you could decide to make the whole world a single biome. No, I think that was it. I know when making this recording, I decided not to really. This isn't a customization world. For retrospective, this is a Sky World retrospective. I will touch a bit of cave worlds, but if you want the video talking about the customization world system, then yeah, I guess I could do that for the next end of month each thing. But the important part is customization world was basically honestly really cool. I'm all making a very tough desert world of it. And then they kind of removed it for the buffet worlds. It sucked, but the buffet worlds, at least the ones that I started using, had the cool thing of they got rid of all of the customized systems, which sucked, but it let you have actual proper floating islands above the void instead of just like messing around to have a layer of Sky World and a Overworld, which honestly that would be a cool playthrough thingy as well. And of course, technically, if you knew how to do it right, you could probably make a cave world yourself. But I don't. So yeah, 3 set cave worlds. Although personally, I was before the 3 never lost either of these features, and just had like one super mega ultra customizer system that basically will allow you to, change every minute detail while still giving you like a preset system of, do you want to make the entire world a Skyland? Alright then, so it would basically do this, or the cave world, or lava sea, but I think they removed the lava sea specifically because of the clock updates. That's like roughly around the buffet worlds were added. So yeah, that kind of sucks because again, this in the buffet worlds and people's jump scaring me was also the time when the customization system was moved entirely. Again, it's like, well, this is a retrospective mistake talking about the Sky World. Customization will always come up because of the fact that this was the thing that replaced it, and then they removed it entirely, leaving only a single biome. Which, is a far cry from the legacy that really both previous versions had. Like, even with Buffet Worlds, which I'm just gonna call the cave and Sky Island Buffet World from here on out, because that's, the wizarding point before they got rid of it, and then, you know how it goes. Yeah, I think, with the Buffet Worlds, well, so you were still locked into a single biome like this, you were still allowed to basically be a bit more creative, have a different scenery or sites that you can't just do a normal playthrough. Like, it's because, like, let's be real here, what is really the difference between a single biome super flat of a world and a default world that's only this biome? The terrain, I guess. I mean, structures still spawn the same. So you don't have cave systems, but if you've seen like things like the Dripstone, cave walls, you see that doesn't really matter since they just spawn it on the surface. Like, so maybe like I think it would only really affect the lush caves. The difference between the having just a flat terrain versus having real terrain would be the lush caves, since it would just be the surface area where it's grass blocks and acacias and azalea trees, as well as, well, compared to normal terrain, you'd have the surface layer and then the overall bioluminescent cave layer, and that seems like a cool, nice place to just relax and chill in, honestly. Just like worlds like that, but it wouldn't be all that interesting since it would be like everything would be underground while they sparse trees or something. I have no idea what the surface of a Lost Cave world actually looks like, by the way. I know that Dripstone one looks like the apocalypse, and it's cool. Of course, there is the desert-only world, but I mean, fun fact, I actually beat an entire hardcore game with nothing but deserts. It took several attempts, but I did it. I still even have the world. So, yeah, I guess you can check that out if you guys want to. Other than dive into the beat, so if you want to take a new Let's Play where I probably die in like the first 6 minutes and call it a video, then yeah, we could do that. There's not much to say about that type of thing. But yeah, anyway, with daytime, we can now go to basically another island. Again, it's like, well, let's talk about transportation systems as well, since we're here and all. First things first is, of course, the bridge. The old classic and basically your default way of going everywhere. You're not really going to get far in a sky world by just walking. Buckets of water and lava, well, would sound useful in a place like this, and sometimes they are. Because of the fact that this is old generation of terrain, I mean, you see for yourself, there's not really a high enough fall to where, like, say, bucket cluster and you'll be fine. Like, you'd have to fall into a mine shaft for that to be the case. And of course, a bucket of water can't save you from the void if you're already falling into it. So while you've already seen bridging a few times already, there are a few more. Again, something to note, happy gas do not exist here, and so would many other future ways of transporting via air. You're reliant on either ender pearls, if you get that, or, well, flying machines, as you see right about here. For as I failed to create a flying machine, as you'll quickly see, and then show you a proper flying machine that works. In fact, it's probably the one that I used in my original playthrough, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think I tried to make this flying machine that works, but as we are discussing, flying machines are kind of your mid to end game mode of transportation. Of course, while elytras exist, there's actually an interesting caveat there. Well, depending on what version of the Skyworld map you're on, there is a non-0% chance that this newest strongholds to you don't exist. You see, because of the fact that strongholds spawn at the bottom of the world, and the fact that they and the fact that the bottom of the world is void, there were some times in the Sky Island history where if you fail to play your cards right, you would just fall out of the sky? Well, the stronghold would, and basically when you would teleport to it, you would find absolutely nothing. There wouldn't even be a portal, there wouldn't even be a stronghold. It would just be the idea of one. So, yeah. There's a non-0% chance that flying machines will become your main way of getting to far distant islands. Another thing that this world has over the Skyblock world, you see, for exactly why would you put a flying machine in a Skyblock setting outside of farms? You're not like you'll be traveling anywhere. Heck, you'd depending on how your flying machine is played, you might just be stuck on an eternal course to nowhere, and that didn't help at all. So instead, you just wouldn't. You just increase the length of your platform. Elytra is just a funny commodity there, not anything of real value or note, just something you can do for the heck of it. Just flying around your island. Because, again, in this Skyblock world, that you build the terrain. It's like, why would you make the terrain haphazard to normal walking distance? But, like, all of a sudden, it basically, you wouldn't even have the technology to make a Elytra only Sky Island for like forever maybe. Strongholds might not even exist, as you're not allowed to break the game in that way to get a stronghold. As you see, Hero's being trying for Minecraft there to be the passenger seat, and failing again because I forgot how how flying machines works. Again, I'll actually use the one that works, but outside of this whole thing, because I think behind, like, slimes still spawn here, and of course, if you don't care for slimes, they nearly work, but not at all. Did I lie to you? That slimes exist, but unlike slimes, Henny also exists in this update, and Henny works as well. Modern day Henny. So, and you might be wondering, okay, is that important? Well, in the normal search system we have, it's the default is a flamethrower. Henny, hives, beehives specifically. I mean, what else would it be? Very inherently, naturally spawning things that happen here. Which means you could have a bee farm and then have a Henny flying machine. But of course, again, if you know what you're looking for, you can find the actual slime chunks. That it's not that difficult. You'll probably notice that a slime chunk is there if you light up like the bottom of the islands, especially in the mineshaft area. Because, well, the mineshaft area. So it's like, yeah, you can get slimes as well. And it's probably even less effort to make a real slime farm than in a normal world. And as you see, here's a flying machine that works. Rather slow, yes, but it is resource efficient. You don't have to make a long bridge that you have to rail, and let's be real here, unless you want to use half slabs as well. That bridge is getting infested with mobs again, and like that, you could like put a glowstone block or like a redstone lamp or something. With a redstone block. You probably just keep to the glowstone because it's not only cheaper, it's also glow level. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably even sell it to you now as we're traveling. It's like a glowstone block does emit its light level during the entire trip, being that outside of, well, phantoms, which still spawn by the way, they always will, always have. Yeah, and here's where I get the to show this off. Ta-da! See? You see that it flickers, but it works. And then you can just, well, not pause to say, but just like black seal on the honey block section and just travel along. Want to make this a good like two-way thing? You probably replace the slime blocks in the back with more honey blocks. But it's not like it's needed. So yes. After that, just simply travel all the way to the new island and make a portway. Of course, one might say if you there was only one major problem with this design over the normal flying machine design, or bridge design actually, and that is if you die, the flying machine's on the other island and not on yours, which means you'll probably have to bridge anyway. But you know, that's only if you die. If you never die, then this is a grand way of just getting to places in relative ease. Of course, a minecart or something would help better to prevent you from being knocked off by phantoms, but at the same time, if you're traveling for 3 days straight, you might need to keep on watch of that dying to phantoms straight up, so yeah, I guess there's not much we can do about that. So keep in mind that again, this is once more 1.17.1. So if you like to mod the game, you could probably find some good like modded flying machines that you could use to travel all over the place. But yeah, with that, we return back to the just traveling around in normal survival mode once again, with our crafting vents in tow. Something that you probably did see was well, a village back there. They do spawn, although what you saw there is what I call an anomaly. Most villages don't spawn like that. In fact, I would say none of them really do at all, actually. For, let's just skip ahead as I'm just finding stone, we will encounter a lone house or village, and the rest of the village. Yes, this is a much more common state. The entire village being in the void. For the structural generation does not actually check if there's land there. Only mineshafts do for some reason. Instead, the structural generation for everything else checks if it's the biome type, and well, the infinite void is not a biome. It is specifically still all plains. It leads to funny things like that. Of course, most of the time, like 99% of the time, if you find a village like this, all the inhabitants are dead, just assume that's the case. I mean, I think it was in that village where you'll see later that there was indeed one survival, but it doesn't really matter all that much when, like, it's like one survivor of an entire village. And basically the only one that really mattered. So basically the numbers go down there anyway. It's like you could get some floating crops, but the dirt layer is gone. And effectively the crops are basically a great signifier of how much of the bottom layer of the village is actually removed by that generation. Because it basically places itself right under 0, and that has its own effects. The most obvious of which is of course the deleting itself, or at least the inner part of itself thing, and that very well is probably the case that happens with like, the strongholds and stuff, where it's like placed too far down, where they are then put to the very bottom of the world and delete itself. Although I think 1.17.1 might have done something to fix that, or maybe you just have to get lucky and just find a stronghold that isn't destroyed by the sky or void. But yeah, again, it's like having a bucket is still useful. Good for us traversing up and down Sky Islands. Again, vertical movement is the real challenge in this world of Sky. Because, well, you're gonna have to bridge there, and if you don't use half slabs, that's not serious make half slabs, then you're going to have a quite difficult journey back and forth. As this zombie has clearly shown. I have no idea why he went back. Maybe he saw something. But yeah, since mobs can spawn down, they can do that. Again, you can get iron pretty easily. You can get like gold, coal, and please don't having times when I found what still on map is, but as you'll quickly see, it's not much diamond. As I've pretty much stated already. So yeah, don't affect that, and you can get a better look at the village as well from here. Just like pretty much the bottom part of everything is gone. You see that mobs still spawn here, and yeah, it's like it's just the compost. Like every compost you see is a farm, and yeah, it's like that's how much of it is gone. No, and of course there's not much in these real islands either. So yeah, of course we have this house, which no one lives in, but it's the only one that survived the trip. And of course we have these other houses. Well, this one still has a living resident. I guess because we got here at night, he just spawned in his bed, or maybe he just always sticks in his bed. But yeah, now the other villagers are so lucky. Yeah, and you see like the shorts, like all but the top part of the shorts' door is even around. So don't expect much luck there. And yeah, same goes with here. Basically, you have one surviving villager, and that's it. And it would be just easier at that point. This is like this villager surviving is the rarity. So if you're trying to get villagers in the Sky World, it's easier to just kill zombified villagers than finding an actual village. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a village like this, which means you're going to have to find 2 villages anyway, or you know, just find like 2 just zombie villagers, get a witch, get golden apples, kill them, ba bing ba boom, you're done. But when the Nether update has already passed, by the way, which means the zombified piglins and things would be around, and of course gold in the Nether would be a more abundant resource. But yeah, so speaking of the mines, let's go talk about the mines now, since now that I decided to just talk myself here. Again, like I said, one of the coolest things they added was definitely the chains that connected it to the ground and surface, as you see. Because again, it was these things would just float in the sky and it's called day, but just by them adding that feature, it just makes them so. It gives a better vibe, as you say, with the other Minecrafts. But just like you're going to see what I mean. Like once we get down here, after doing the classic way of how I usually traverse these Minecrafts, breaking the support pillars to make a staircase. Don't try this at home. Yeah. The support pillars are very important for reasons that are obvious. Their support, but yeah. Of course, you still have the average Minecraft design of normal support pillars, and this gives a good time for us to just go kill more things, stuff like getting coal and iron and stuff. But because the diary life just gets very enough to do with space, I'm pretty sure I'll appeal somewhere else one of these days. In some other land of void. But again, it's one thing, it's like, yeah, it's like, all still generate. Diamonds is probably the best thing as stated. And you could basically live your this kind of a step up from just playing on a skyblock world. Honestly, you're probably not going to get many items. Like, good luck finding sand. I don't think it exists unless you pick a desert world. So don't expect to get glass blocks anytime soon, or anything that requires sand to function. And of course, since the bottom of the world is gone, anything else that would be at the bottom of the world also doesn't spawn. So there's that in mind. This is 1.17, so you go find a deep sea cluster eventually, and well, there is a funny nature of how lava works. Since you can get an island that spawns lava layer, there's absolutely a way for me. That's been my only confirmation that diamonds can exist. But yeah, let's get into like the real Minecraft. As you see, it's a very precarious land. Let's like look how this like all the chains like climb up to the ceiling. It really does fit the pixel. Like, this was something actually used by an ancient people to get down to the bottom of the wall to do something. I guess find resources, yeah. But due to the state of how it's all the sky, it's like, what could they even gathering here? Well, I guess whatever it is, it's probably not something that we'll find it anytime soon anymore. I bet it's the diamonds. The villagers have diamonds, but yet we do not. You'll probably not find a diamond anything. Oh, it's our villagers, so... Again, it's like... the main reason I bring up diamonds so much is because of the fact that it's nigh impossible to actually find them. It's the single rarest resource outside of... Well, you can't even get emeralds here. Outside villagers, of course. I mean, maybe that's what they've been actually mining them. There's literally 0 emeralds anywhere, so... Could be. But, yeah, I guess... I don't know, I just kinda like the vibe of this like staying under here of the mine shaft of the world. I guess thinking back on it, I think the reason why I like the mine shaft so much is because it does serve as basically the cave systems of the sky world. Since, you know, caves where these are set be a tunnel straight to the void, or be kind of like lackluster caves in normal Minecraft. This is basically our best showcasing what one would look like. Especially if it like connects us to like an actual cave and stuff. That it's like it gives the vibe of something more grandiose than it probably normally would be. Also helps the fact that Minecraft has still spawned chests, since the entirety of the Minecraft spawns, unlike things like villages. So you'll still get the mine shafts, you'll still get cave spiders, as you see from the cobwebs in the background here. Because underneath the actual sky island, there's a cave spider spawn as part of the mine shaft, and that's cool. And it's like how this kind of all like links together to make like just kind of a cool set piece sorting sort of. Then it has a reason to go explore these places, because yes, like when it comes to Skywars, there's not really much reason to ever mine, not in the same way you would in Minecraft. Like strip mining is a pointless endeavor because you'll quickly run out of space on a Sky Island. Like yeah, it's like, for mod people, I mean technically. On Java, you can just do this whenever anyone wants to. you. Oh, let's go to 1.17. Choose your favorite point number, and then you could just do this whenever. You also do this. You also skill play the Aethor, but is this not the same as doing this in like a real normal survival playthrough? Anyway, with that, of course, with all that said, now it's time for us to actually just explore, well, the Skylands in a more freeform thing, starting with the Stronghold, and see what I mean. Like, well, at this place was basically a lucky place, either caused by the Stronghold itself or something else. It's caused the lava layout to form, and the hilarity that is lava generation. It appears confusing. You see, like, all around us, like, lava does indeed flow normally, but I guess because it is the lava core section, it's what causes it to just be, like, a block of lava. Of course, if you update it, it'll all fall down, but it's kind of funny how that works. Then, yeah, you can see here it's a bit more of a bigger place, and things like that. Like, of course, Amethyst geodes do need spawn here, and kind of goes as soon as you like how deep underground we are representative to normal Minecraft terrain. Because like if up there is the surface, then basically everything when we up there, I mean like the highest point where you see like the trees and things. Everything down here is a cave system. That's part of a cave system since they can spawn underground. It's a rare thing that people don't mention, but it is something that is possible, at least in earlier versions. I don't know if it's possible anymore nowadays, but I mean, it doesn't go. And also, we found the world's luckiest villager. Not only does he have his workplace, being a blacksmith, but he also has a house, meaning that he can live a life. You know what's good for him? He's also. It's rare for us to even find villagers after all. But yeah, again, it's like, something to note that neither the Nether nor the End have changed at all. So basically, yeah, don't expect the End to be a cave world or the Nether to be a sky world all of a sudden. That's just not how this works. It only affects the overworld and the overworld only. And yeah, it's like this village is a lot less lucky. Because the only survivor being the one that was guaranteed to survive. So yeah, that was to be said right here. But yeah, I think what tends to happen. I mean, no, there are times when I saw a village that was nowhere near anything, but still exploded. But still found the void. So yeah, I guess you can make a whole story here. It's like how it's like the lines are crumbling and all that. I mean, it kind of should if you look at the villages, but everyone else like mindsets and things like seems perfectly fine. Although, at the same time, I'm not the storyteller here. I'm a showcaser. If you want to tell that story, then go ahead. It definitely gives you more than enough materials to do so. Although you'll probably always find some funny things like this. Again, like, yeah, what don't spawn to you, and well, since you're at lava layer, well, deep enough for diamonds to spawn as well, so it's you know, possible. But yeah, it's like this is probably the most regular stronghold I've ever seen in Skyward, I will say. And well, yeah, so let's go back in spectator mode and let's go check it out. Yeah, this is rather well in some generations. Like, I was how both poles are so close to each other. But yeah, like, I wonder if they changed something at the time to make it more likely for this to happen. Before they just removed it entirely in the next update. It's kind of always a sad part of all that, isn't it? But yeah, of course, if you get lucky with a stronghold generating, you can get your true final late game mode of transportation through the Skyward. The power that is the Elytra or Elytra. Anyway, the point thing is like in the meantime, before that, I also showcase for me the nozzle is not different at all. As you see, it's just the normal nozzle, normal lava generation, normal bastion generation. It's just the nozzle. It's still nothing to talk about it. Anyway, back to the cooler part, the Elytra. For with its existence, you now finally have a way of traversing the Skylands in a much more faster and functional way. No need for the slow and resource-intensive sky flying machines. Means no need to bridge for thousands of miles. Now you can just go gliding around under the islands, over the islands, everywhere, freeform and carefree. The pinnacle of transportation in this land. Part of me kind of likes this weird storyline that we have here. Like, pretty much forced you. I mean, of course, let's be real here. How many players will actually make flying machines? Most people will just say will stick to bridging and call it a day. And you know what? Fair enough. Because to basically make it a perfectly safe system to where you can get back to anywhere, anytime, you need to make 2 flying machines. One on one end and the other on the second end. And every time you go on it, you basically fly all the way up, and then trigger the second. Once you get there, you trigger the secondary flying machine to move on to the next wall, to the other side, and keep in mind chunk loading and all that. So yeah, power clocks don't exist in this world so I don't think so. Don't expect that. So definitely don't expect salt calibers or anything. They don't spawn here after all. Remember, it's not even if they did. In fact, I don't think the biome even exists where they come from. So yeah, it'd be quite troublesome to do for longer range expeditions, but I mean it's possible. You can definitely do it. But yeah, it's probably safer to just have in fact, I mean, it's still safer to have 2 flying machines that basically always assume that always make sure to do just something. The travel back home is probably more dangerous than the travel back to somewhere else. Let's be real here. But yeah, it's like, sorry for the poor world generation here. My thing is not all that strong, but still, I just kind of want to showcase what it would look like just gliding around all this entire place. Just how you see these large gaps of void that, again, would work perfectly if you made a flying machine, but but at the same time, it's like, just glide through there. You'll be fine. You'll make it eventually. If you just bridge or maybe just glide around carefree for Elytra. But yeah, I was saying basically the progress is like, first you bridge everywhere, and then when you realize that bridging takes forever, you start making flying machines. But the flying machines themselves, even the most complicated ones, can only go to so many directions. So instead, you find a link to a world similar to your own, one that is also of the sky, and from there, learn of their secrets of flight. So you can then use it back into your normal world and travel the land in speeds unrivaled by anything else this land has to offer. Outside phantoms, but we don't care. We don't talk about them. And yeah, I think that's a cool little neat story there. Of course, there is Nether travel, which I did fail to mention, since Nether's Unchained, you get to use that, but that feels a lot less cool. But along with that, as you see going on, let's go check out what the Azure Buffet world options have to offer. Because after all, you don't have to make a sky world out of a plains biome. You could make it into a flower forest biome as well. Oh yeah, it's like looking at this biome and as the lag kind of does its thing. The main thing I want to point out here is like, okay, this is also a pretty good one to start in a Sky World with, just because it's like, you know, pretty flowers, more bees, all that. Also, it's like, man, imagine how cool it would be to basically have like the main like plains biome, as well as having the flower forest, maybe a jungle biome. Like, being able to choose all these types of biomes around and put them all on the same world. Of course, removing biomes that wouldn't work, like oceans as well, on your discretion. But sadly, that's not the world we live in, and you can only pick one biome. But it's like, just imagine for a second if that was actually possible. I mean, it's possible with Daft Pack some sort. Again, it's one of the things. Like, if you're Daft Pack creator, you could probably create all of this. Basically, it's like select all the forest biomes and plains, and basically have maybe even put this in its own separate dimension to make a not Aethor, or they can call it the Aethor. So basically, like this land in the sky. Probably add new monsters along the boot as well, and mobs in general. So, but speaking of biomes that might not work, at least at the time I thought, let's see what an whole desert biome is. And as you see, it seems something I wasn't expecting was simply, well, the thing I was expecting was floating sand, but you know, it's actually it's the lava thing again. Well, basically, because it's spawned in this format instead of basically being like a single thing, the sand continues to float there. And, well, it means that you can just break it down and cause all the sand to fall over and over again like you see here. It's a neat little detail. I mean, it's not really a detail, just a effect of terrain generation. But yeah, it's like, you'll just see nothing but large sand and generation of things. Since, well, Desert Temple still spawn, but unlike the villages, which you still hear, still broken, the Desert Temple works as you think it would. And that's just like an interesting thing, because that's like a new village compared to the old Desert Temple. They have not changed how Desert Temple generates ever, but they absolutely have modified the villages, and I wonder if it's relating to the new village system. Because as you see, it's like the Desert Temple itself is actually quite small. I mean by many thousands, like the chest and the thing itself. Everything else is just a byproduct of it trying to reach the ground. And of course, we have pillager outposts, so if you were to play in this system, you would have a infinite source of wood, well, a finite infinite source of wood. Of course, don't forget the mine shafts as well. And of course, the amethyst shields as well still spawn here. Like, everything still spawns here, Wazzle close to the surface. So, yeah. Okay, the Geo thing is like very interesting there because it kind of shows you like effectively exactly how far we are. But of course, that's not the only world we checked out. This is an ocean, as you see right here, and nothing spawns. Yeah, it's only the structures of the ocean. That means you'll find an endless amount of Nether portals that will, of course, like ruin the houses and shipwrecks, which are cut off by generation. No, they're not. It's just half a ship. I lied to you. And of course, let's remind you, this is an ocean world. No stronghold exists here, so you can't even beat the game in this. So it's just a novelty of. This is what happens when you make a sky world into a water world. It doesn't replace the void of water. It just makes the islands not exist. And that's basically all there is. Like, you could probably continue exploring to find more structures, but it will all be the same structures repeatedly. And I'll also tell you this as well, something else I learned. When I was, actually you see right now, when I was looking for a monument, you'll see in about a few months once I figure out what a monument actually is called. This doesn't spawn either. See? Both the stronghold one and monument thing happen, and nothing happens. Okay, this is due to the fact that monuments need water to spawn in, and despite being an endless ocean, there is no water, so... And let's see, yes, no. the command works, the sea teleports is strong due to that shipwreck. So yeah, no, you don't get monuments. And now here's an interesting one: the Crimson Forest biome in the overworld. As you see, it's all as the red haze. You still see the sun. You still see the moon. You still the bastions. I didn't check Waddle if Waddle gets doused here. You won't see Waddle naturally, so it's not like you test in spiral mode. But you see, it has the effect of the floating lava everywhere here. And of course, it would be cool if you picked the nether biome, they changed it all to blackstone. But something that knows here. Hey, these goblins don't spawn naturally in Crimson Forest. What's that about? That is a lot of them. I'll make this quick. I'll tell you this here now. They did spawn in as piglins, but due to the fact that it's the overworld, it does not matter that it's a nether biome. The fact that he's just in the overworld changes them into Zoglins. And the same will happen with the piglins. Doesn't matter if they're a brute, doesn't matter if they're not a brute. They will all turn into zombified piglin. And that's just another interesting factoid there. Since, well, it basically means that this entire world is running on a timer. You thought that mobs respawning when you got away was a difficult task? Imagine trying to go trade with one of these guys or hunt for food from a hoglin before they zombify before you. Man, that sounds like a challenge. Although, once again, nuzzle biome, no stronghold will spawn here, so make that to deal with that as you will as well. Along with the fact that it's only one singular nether biome, it's like Crimson Forest is probably your best bet. Because Warp Forest is just like the end, but with blue trees. Let's be real here. You get the same experience. You wouldn't even get the dragon spawn. You just have Enderman and blue. I guess it's different from white and purple at the end usually is. Although I think that biome will be the same as this one, where it's like it'll be a layer of unstone and stone bomb. And now here's a mountain. Yes, this is still a skyworld, by the way. But as you'll notice, as we continue traveling, like again, it's like first to prove that this is a skyworld, it's like it's like little ravines and stuff. We still have caves. Heck, these are probably more like actual caves and ravines than the normal Skyward Great. It feels very flat terrain, and well, yeah, if I didn't tell you this was a Skyward, you probably would realize that this world has no bottom. And honestly, the mountain generation makes a very interesting note about how the Skyward was created, because you will never see the end of the island. At least I never did when exploring this place. But the reason that's like inherently odd why I'm pretty sure there isn't an end, because as you saw with the other biomes, you saw an end, the end of the island, like instantly. There wouldn't be a doubt if that there is one or not. It would simply be like, yep, and there's the end, there's the cliff. But not here. Mobs still spawn, trees still spawn, things still spawn. Well, not overly higher things. This is a world that has a 255 height block limit, by the way. That is basically one of the time that we're in, no? So, yeah, and it's basically no end. It's all one giant continent. It's just that the bedrock layer is removed, and that's about it. It was a really real experience when I figured that out. And yeah, here's just to inform you that the height limit is 255, y'all. So it's like that. And also, something I let someone bring back. Did you see that? The actual bedrock actually spawns here. And that's just wild to me. It's like, it's almost a normal world, but as you saw from the Mineshaft generation, no, it's still a sky world. It's such a strange and interesting variation of the world. One where bedrock isn't the absolute limit here. It still exists in some places, but not everywhere. And for context, here's a jungle, which I feel like it's like would fit perfectly in like a if you were to make a data park with nothing but sky worlds. This feels like a good like whale spawn. You see, as said, immediate notification that it is a sky world. You see them. You see the immediate bottom or that's lack thereof, and it's like, yep, nope, very much. It's even the dripstone that you saw spawning around here because the dripstone caves did not exist at the time. So, yeah. But of course, while exploring this place, we might as well just go talk about the cave world as well, gently. Because, you know, it was also removed, while not the basis of this conversation, was still something that was just as important. And in fact, the choice of jungle here is actually why so important for something that relates to the cave worlds. For, as you'll see, we're back here, another scientific cave world, and I feel like the best cave world to pick from the cave world section is not plains, but jungle. This is for one reason and one reason alone. I had to give myself many reasons for this as well, but ta-da! No tree spawn. In fact, the only floor that spawn here is everything that isn't a tree. Like for example, bamboo. This is the reason why I say a jungle cave world should be the default cave world if you ever want to do a cave world playthrough. I mean, I guess you can do the nuzzles, but again, no strongholds spawn here. Strongholds spawn in jungles. But yeah, I think because of the fact of this, bamboo spawning, you don't need to waste your time looking for, like, some goddamn mineshaft to have a actual start. You can just break a block of bamboo, make it into sticks. This is not a time when... This was before the bamboo block came to existence, so bamboo can only be used for sticks and scaffolding, I believe. And basically, parents just call it a day there. Like, you get your sticks. I mean, good luck finding a crafting table, I will admit. I mean, that is a challenge. Getting a crafting table is a challenge, but with sticks, you can do that already, and then from there, you just have to, like, find yourself a creeper or something, blow up stone, and you don't need to waste that much mineshaft material to complete it all. Again, if this was a later version, then the bamboo spawning would be perfect, because then you can just make a bamboo pickaxe. Okay, just use like the bamboo planks to make a wooden pickaxe, and yeah, it'll all be sorted. But even that, like, again, there's kind of a difference between being solely reliant on mineshaft spawns for everything versus just needing the spawn to make yourself a crafting table. Trust me, the jungle spawn will make your life a whole lot more easier. But of course, something else about jungle spawns that they don't tell you about, I think it's happening for all the biomes because it's, well, awful, but as you see from the jungle temple, it neatly cuts through the bedrock layer. And you can see even some grass spawning on the abandoned portal here. It's just kind of an interesting thing, because basically means if you basically climb up to the top, but I mean, it'll take a bit, but you're probably not gonna find the ones that are buried under 5 feet of stone. No, you'll probably get ones that were like that clearly peeled out the top. Like, there are a few that are like that, but even then, worst case scenario, you just kind of dig at the surface layer for a bit until you hit a water pond or cobblestone and mossy cobblestone. And then like ba bing ba boom, you're now on the surface, allowing you like an infinite amount of safe traversal ever. Although, funny story, phantoms would spawn on the surface on the bedrock layer and kill you. And I think that's the only place phantoms can spawn in this world. So take your pick. Do you pick the sky world with hostile? Well, even the act of walking around is dangerous. Or do you pick the cave world where you have, well, your start is far more dangerous than all this is in total darkness, but you would have an easier way of traversal either by boat if the pool of water and the rest as you see, or by climbing up to the surface and walking there, but probably guaranteeing that you're going to be attacked by phantoms because, well, sleeping in this world doesn't change anything. It's all darkness. Also interesting, it also spawn here in the dark. Yeah, it's all darkness. There's nothing of natural light to spawn here. The sun is a lie. Sleeping is an act only done out of luxury, not out of necessity. And that's just and that's basically the whole thing there, because I believe we're at the point where you can just right-click the bed in daytime to set your spawn, so there's never really a need for you to sleep. So yeah, let's keep to the... So yeah, it's like all that. You get warm on the spawn, so you have a food supply, even though if outside of Water Plus, of course. If you don't have to get to the surface, you can make a surface land via hijacking a jungle temple or water pool. Actually, just jungle temple because it's much so cool visual. That's about it. And yeah, that's about it. Again, strongholds still spawn here and all that, as I'll show you right now. Ta-da! The stronghold. And that we can basically beat the game if you want to. And I also found this during the development of this video. It's a mine shaft that connects to that not only connects to the stronghold, but also connects to two monster spawn dungeons. And yeah, that's just neat. You don't see that. I guess it's of course then diamonds also spawn here. But I mean, go figure. Again, the pros and cons of Sky Worlds. The Sky Worlds, you can basically guarantee that you have an island all to yourself. But traversal is far more dangerous, and night is and an unprotected night can cost you everything, and you're always at risk of losing everything from the void. Or you can pick Cave World, where day never exists, but nights are weaker because there's so many places for mobs to spawn. While you also gain access to diamonds, and that is another advantage that Cave World has over the Sky World. That diamonds are more plentiful in a Cave World. Who would have guessed? But of course, conversely, the Sky World. Well, I didn't even kind of talk about other parts of the Sky World. The Cave World has more water. The end game, I think Cave World is better, but the only game for Cave World is tough. The Eternal Darkness is not a challenge that one does faintly after all. And so the night of a Sky World can get scary. Also, here's the seed, by the way, if you want to go play this part. It's on the teleport command, I think. Yeah, but one thing is like the Sky World's openness does lead to more safety overall. Like, late game is a lot more challenging. It's Elytra is a neutralizer, not a advantage overall. But yeah, as we go explore the next land, I just want to state that I do hope that they bring this feature back. Like, how cool would it be if like the new systems and terrains if like you could basically again I don't know how they would do it, probably like in like the middle. They'll have to absolutely put way more effort than they ever did of this system. But because like find a way to basically have those Sky Islands be Sky Islands and not just like a world with a core with its core whipped out. I mean, even then that's fine. You can actually play that type of world, by the way. It's in one of the snapshots for the Caves and Cliffs update, specifically the one where they changed World Generation, which I'm pretty sure is the reason why they got rid of it in the first place. But yeah, like, there was a small time when it's like you could play on a snapshot of a sky world and basically have the deep state level and basically the sky world. It was a weird time. I didn't really play with it all too much, especially since it was snapshot era. It was cool to just go experience the rest of the world instead of a snapshot. Especially when the next snapshot was coming around. It still kind of bummed me out that they got rid of it. Of all this. And if you use data packs, you can recreate it, and well, it's not like most players play these things, but I don't know. I enjoyed my time on these Sky Worlds. If you guys want to see me do a playthrough, it would probably be like a rather laid back playthrough. Let's be realistic. There's not much. The things you can do in the Sky World is only slightly higher than that you can do in the Sky Block. Like what? Instead of no diamond ore, I could put a diamond ore in a museum called the World's Rarest Block instead. Basically the same thing. And I will probably be playing on a default plains biome as well, so it's like even more just a slightly better super flat. But hey, it's something to think about. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Till next time for what I feel like doing, and I hope to see you around. Bye.